Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Lianas Senior Transition Support, helping you navigate home care and senior residences.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Delvecchio here. Corey is off today. As the days are shorter and there's less socialization, many of us resort to brain games such as crosswords and Sudoku. They're not just challenging, but they're also good for your health and well-being. I decided to reach out to a friend of mine that is one of the largest publishers of these brain games so we can get his perspective. Very pleased to have George Papp on the line. George is the CEO of Papp International. Papp International is a dynamic publishing company focused on creating fun and innovative books for both children and adults. George, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hey, Matt, great to be here. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thanks for being here. So, George, why is it important for us to keep the brain stimulated?
Well, it's, the same way we're taught to maintain a healthy diet and to exercise our bodies regularly to promote a good quality of life. The same thing goes for your mind. I guess it goes back to that old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. So by exercising your brain, doing brain games, it helps your brain stay fit and healthy.
Yeah, so true, and brain games, you publish a lot of them. So what are some of the more popular brain games that you see out there, George?
Well, we have something for everyone. The most popular one by far would be our word hunt. Some people call it word search. That probably outsells all the other brain games that we create 4-1, but we have Sudoku is a very popular one. People love their crosswords. Some people prefer logic-based games, and other people prefer word and vocabulary-based games.
Talking with George Papp from Papp International, publisher of these brain games, and we're talking about the importance and what it can do for people. And specifically, George, these days, and now who knows with Omicron, isolation and loneliness can be very difficult for people. And we've seen far too much of this during the pandemic. But the brain games can be a tremendous activity to combat isolation and loneliness, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. Actually, we've noticed that since the beginning of COVID, brain games, sales of our brain game books in our puzzle division have gone, through the roof. And it definitely is a great way to pass the time. It's not a magic pill, but it certainly helps people who suffer from isolation, immobility, and strained or minimal social ties. Strong social ties have been associated with a lower risk of dementia, as well as lower blood pressure and longer life expectancy. So, during these times when those social ties may be cut off, or you're forced to Zoom to socialize, these brain games certainly come in handy.
Yeah, when we were talking off air, I was amazed about how good these brain games can do for social isolation and loneliness, and it makes sense. It keeps you busy, keeps the mind sharp, and they should absolutely be encouraged. Now, I know, George, a trend. I'm assuming this is a trend in your industry where perhaps. I think of crosswords and these word search as hard copies. That's what I'm used to. But I would imagine digital brain games are getting more and more popular. Are you seeing that trend?
Well, there's certainly applications out there to test your memory. Some of the paid brain training apps focus heavily on memorization skills that aren't specifically as useful in day-to-day life. Your brain can get just as good of a workout through reading or challenging yourself with word or number puzzles. So our business is really focused on the bricks and mortar. We find that the people who buy our books really enjoy, tuning out, getting off screen. With all the extra time people are spending on computers from their homes, it's really nice to put your iPhone down, turn off the TV, and sit down and actually pick up a pencil or a pen and, lose yourself in a book.
Yeah, this is George Papp from Papp International, publisher of many books and brain games for both adults and children. And I would agree. I personally prefer, I like the hard copy. I like writing into, whether it's Sudoku games or crosswords. And I think many people still like that as well. Could be a generational thing. George, I'm showing my age here,
So actually, Matt, one of the things that's really nice about, and we found out during this pandemic, is that we have seniors and grandparents doing these puzzles together in person or even online with their grandchildren or their children. So it's a great activity to actually bring the generations together and to share something with your grandchildren. For instance, instead of reading my son a book to go to sleep, my 9-year-old son, he's really into Sudoku now. And I'll tell you one thing: we do it together, and it's a lot of fun. And it actually puts them to sleep a little bit faster.
Yeah, very interesting. Very good point as well. And I know you get some wonderful feedback, some testimonials, some stories. Can you share a couple of the comments and stories that you've received?
Absolutely. We get so many. It's one of the nice parts of, I guess, being a publisher of this kind of product. I picked out a few, that we usually get them. This one's from Jackie Watts in Prince George, BC. I think I can say her name. Jackie, if you're listening, thank you for the letter. She says, as a bedridden disabled person, your puzzle books have brought me more hours of entertainment than you could possibly imagine. And during this pandemic, I rely on them even more to keep me distracted from the fear and uncertainty of such an unknown and frightening virus.
There's a lot there, and certainly the frightening virus. I also see, for example, the television for some people, particular seniors that might be hard of hearing, they like to resort to something like that. And just like your reader said there, I think it makes perfect sense. I think you've got a bunch of them. Can you rattle off one or two more?
Yeah, sure. I went through our box of letters, and when we get back to most of these people, we usually send out books. So we really enjoy getting them.
Nice.
Here's one from Loretta Passman from Ontario. I am very much a senior, 86 to be exact, and spend my most enjoyable moments doing your books. Enclosed, you will find a list, and she sent a list of all the 200 copies of our books that she's already done, and then she asked us if we could send her some more, and she'll send us a check. It's very thoughtful. Here's another one. I bought one of your books entitled "Fill in Numbers." I've been working the puzzles in it since. I got it, and I really enjoy it. In fact, I'm on puzzle 80, which means I'm almost done with all the puzzles. So we get letters they're like our pen pals.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. That is fantastic. George, continued success. Thank you for coming on to share a little bit with us. If people want to find out a little bit more about your books, or where can people go?
Well, they can go to our website to learn more about the company, pappinternational.com. If they want to purchase them, they can purchase them at any Dollarama in Canada. They can purchase our French puzzle books at any magazine store throughout the province of Quebec. So they're pretty much everywhere under the Papp Puzzles, Papp Publishing, or Recré imprints for the French language.
All right. Well, George, thanks for joining us here on Life Unrehearsed.
Great to be here, Matt. Thanks very much.
All right. That's George Papp, CEO of Papp International, dynamic publishing company providing entertaining and informative books to millions of readers every day. All right. Coming up on Life Unrehearsed, we're going to be talking about decluttering and downsizing. Things and stuff are accumulating. How do we tackle it? Well, you don't want to miss out on some helpful tips and advice. But first, we're going to head out to our CTV News Update.